All right, that's it. You're here. You've arrived at your destination. Months of planning, months of preparation, thousands of dollars, probably tons of stress, tons of anxiety, tons of anticipation for this. You're here. Enjoy your trip. That's what it's all about, you know. Traveling can be such a fulfilling experience. Like I said, this course is all about getting past your anxiety, and using these techniques and this knowledge to get past your travel anxiety is going to spill over into your anxiety in other areas of your life. I'd be willing to bet that you don't only have hotophobia, the fear of traveling. You have anxiety in other elements, other places in your life, just as I do. For me, it started out really bad as public speaking, and then traveling, and then a bunch of different things. And over the last 10 years, I've pushed myself. No one pushed me. I pushed myself to defeat my anxiety, to overcome these obstacles. And that is rewarding massively. But we want you to enjoy your trip. We want you to get the most out of it. We want you to experience new cultures. So let's look at how we're going to do that and maintain our anxiety, keep our anxiety and our nerves in check, because during the travel process, you have months of anxiety building up to it. Now you're here, it's real. The smells are real. The hotels you've been looking at, they're materializing. They're real. You're in them. The attractions you booked, you're doing them. So you take all this conceptual planning and review research and reading about things, and now you're actually experiencing them in real life. It's the best part. Let's get going. On the plane, you were given your customs and immigration forms. You're familiar with them. You filled them out. You're deboarding, and you're going through customs and immigration. And again, you're helpless. You're in the confines of the airport security system. You're in a new country. You might not speak the language. You're probably farther from home than you've ever been. You don't know what's going on. You're not really sure. You're not oriented. All these new things. It's all so new. Smile. Be happy. You are living. You are overcoming your fears. You're not paralyzed by your anxiety. And give up control. Remember, all you can control on this entire planet are your thoughts and your actions. And when you're traveling, it's even more so. Because when you're at home, when you're in familiar territory, you can control things. You can control who goes in and out of your house, and you can control what you put in your house, right? And you think you can control maybe your kids or your spouse or your employees. You really can't. And then when you're traveling, you have to accept that you just simply can't. All you got is your thoughts and your actions. So just go through the motions, smile, be courteous, be respectful, acquiesce to airport personnel. You're not going to win an argument. You're not going to get anywhere by giving them attitude. So just do what everyone else is doing and stand in line and work your way through it. Relax. Don't get nervous. You're going to look around, and your nerves might start to creep up on you standing in line going through immigration. Once you feel your nerves do that, look around. Are you in danger? No, you're just standing there. You're fine. Breathe. Take a sip of water. You'll be done soon. Once you've gone through customs and immigration, get your luggage. If you checked any, if not, you're good to go right at the airport. Again, not checking luggage is one less thing to get lost, one less concern, one less worry, but you might need to, so do it if you need to. Again, grab some cash, get a snack or a drink. Get bottled water. Most places, some airports have filters. Most everywhere you go, you're gonna want to drink bottled or filtered water. Rome is an exception. Like Rome has drinking fountains throughout the city. It's supposed to be healthy, natural water. I'm sure you'll be able to find that in other places. But for the most part, especially when you get to a country and you're still familiarizing yourself with it, get bottled water. Think about sanitation first. Think about cleanliness, especially in Asian and Latin American countries that tend to be a little dirtier, have more bacteria. Keep that in mind. You have cash, get $100 worth of local currency, and then figure out where you're going to go to get your ride to your hotel. You may have a pickup scheduled. You might have communicated with the hotel that you're staying at to have a shuttle for you. Now, we did this in Italy. We felt it would be easier just to have a pickup ready. And like I said, we paid like €5 more and got a pickup in a BMW. Took it straight to the hotel. But also, we thought that would be simple. I thought we'd get off the plane. There'd be a bunch of people there holding signs. I'd see my name. We'd go, and that's it. Well, that didn't happen. We got off the airplane in Fiumicino, which is a city outside of Rome where the airport is. And very much like this picture, we see a bunch of people standing there with a bunch of signs. I'm like, cool, let's find our guy and get out of here. Couldn't find him. Okay. Kept looking, walked back and forth, still can't find him. 10 minutes goes by, still can't find him. Okay, what's going on? Something's fishy here. I'm kind of getting a little nervous, getting a little anxious. Not that I need to, right? Worst case scenario, I get a cab and go to the hotel. But my nervousness is kicking in, my anxiety starting to grow. Because something's not right here, right? One of my triggers is something's not right. Right, so something's wrong. There should be a guy here with my name. There's not. Something's not right. My anxiety's starting to take off. I had to relax, chill myself out. Me and my wife were thinking, well, my fiance at the time, we're thinking, okay, like what's going on? What do we do? We wait like 20, 25 minutes, which is a considerable amount of time when you're standing in the airport looking for somebody. And we're starting to freak out. I'm going, okay, like what's up? What's going on? I didn't want to use my phone, but at this point in time, I'm kind of at a loss. So I turn my phone on. I activate cellular service. $10 immediately. It's $10 for every 24 hours. So the minute I activate it, there's $10. And I call the hotel. Luckily, I'm able to get a hold of them. And I'm like, where's our driver at? We're here. And they're like, the driver's there. And I'm like, the driver's not here. What happened was there are 2 or 3 terminals at this airport, and we told them the right terminal. They had our flight itinerary. The driver went to the wrong terminal. So he's calling our hotel saying, where are these guests at? I don't see them. I'm calling the hotel going, where's the driver at? I don't see him. We figure out that, he's the next terminal over. We end up meeting each other, and then we go. Point of that story is, even when you have a ride scheduled from the airport and you're expecting it to be simple and seamless, it doesn't mean it's going to be. It could be as simple as being at the wrong terminal, and then all of a sudden your anxiety spikes and you're gone. So, this got a little nerve-wracking for me, but we dealt with it. We kept our cool. Like I said, worst case scenario, the driver never shows up. We take a taxi cab. Well, we would have been fine no matter what. But like I said, one of my triggers is something's not right here. And thankfully, I was able to squash it, figure it out, move on, slight delay, not a big deal. Just relax. You might be exhausted. You could be a nervous wreck. You might not be able to find your ride. Just calm down. Get to your hotel and just chill out. I'm not the person who's going to sit there and lay in a hotel for 7 hours. It's a waste of a trip for me. But I might get to the hotel and lay down for half an hour and just think and relax and go, okay, whoever I'm traveling with, what do you want to do? Depending on what time of the day it is, you could fly into a place, could be 7 a.m., could be 7 p.m., could be midnight. I don't recommend flying in at night because it can be harder to navigate, but sometimes you don't have much of a choice. Get to your room and relax. Your first day is your best day to kind of like set your pace. Go explore locally around your first hotel. When I get my first hotel rooms, I like to stay there 2 or 3 nights, sometimes 4, if it's a place I really like. But yeah, 2, 3 nights. Relax, check out, get familiar with your surroundings. You have Wi-Fi at your hotel more than likely. Jump online, pull your maps up. Everything you've been looking at from afar, you're right in the middle of now. So go explore it. Go walk to the convenience store down a few blocks away. Go to maybe a nearby attraction that's a few blocks away. Go get some good food. Maybe you have a spot picked out. You picked out a good restaurant. months ago next to this hotel. Go enjoy it. Go do it, but just take it easy on yourself, all right? It's important that you get good rest, that you stay hydrated and healthy, but have fun, get moving forward. You know, if your internal clock's off, reset it, use the melatonin, try to get yourself on the local time as quick as possible because that's what's going to throw your jet lag off. What jet lag is, and I probably should have mentioned this a little earlier, like I said, your body's used to going to sleep probably at the same time every night. So you have your internal chemical systems, like your melatonin releases every night around bedtime. When you travel and you jump time zones and it's 8, 10 hour, 12-hour difference, your body's still trying to stay on the same schedule that it's been on for however long. And it's going to release melatonin and whatever else chemicals that it's going to, in your brain and your body's going to release according to its schedule. But now you're on a different schedule. So you might be like, it might be 9 in the morning where you arrived at, but at home it's 10 p.m. and your body's trying to dump melatonin in your system, or your brain's trying to dump melatonin in your body so you can go to sleep. But it's 9 a.m. and you're trying to stay awake. So you have this discrepancy in your body's chemistry, and the jet lag is the time it takes for you to smooth that out and get your body chemistry on the same page. So do what's necessary the first day or two. If you do it right, by day 3 you have no jet lag. I've had trips where my wife thinks she's had jet lag for 10 days. I don't think that's the case, but it could be because everybody's different. So do what's necessary, plan it out, and then make sure you get relaxed and comfortable. This is a reason why I like to get a nicer hotel when I first arrive, so I can kind of live it up a little bit and make sure I'm comfortable. So get to your hotel, check in, chill out. Bottom line. Without question, your cell phone is a very valuable tool. Now, many people have become completely addicted to it. And like I said before, we've been trained to have an attention span on average less than a goldfish, which is insane. Don't fall into your cell phone trap on your trip. I've done it. It's easy to happen. Like I said, use it minimally. What I do now, and it took me a handful of trips to get here, but from the moment I get on my plane to go on my trip, I put it in airplane mode. My goal is to keep it on airplane mode until I get back in my home country and land. That can be 2 weeks on airplane mode, and that can be terrifying for some people. But do it. Do it if you can. Like, you don't need cell service anywhere. You really don't. And if someone has to get a hold of you back home, get WhatsApp or some kind of app where you can communicate digitally with Wi-Fi and use that instead of cellular. So you can go to a cafe hotspot or your hotel and get free Wi-Fi, and you can have text conversation with people on WhatsApp or phone calls. You don't need cellular service. I have Verizon because they have one of the biggest global networks and partnership plans. It costs me $10 a day for every 24 hours that my phone is activated. So if I do a 2-week trip, that's 14 days, that's $140 extra. That's almost tripling my cell phone bill. I don't like that. I don't want to come back home and then have a $200 cell phone bill, a week after I get back. I've done it. I've done full 2-week trips in airplane mode. It's totally fine. So you can still use maps. You can turn airplane mode on, turn your Wi-Fi on. You don't even have to be connected to Wi-Fi. What happens is that your cell phone signal will ping off of other routers and Wi-Fi signals in the city. If you're in the countryside, this won't work. But if you're in the city, which you probably will be, or even in a town that has internet, which is most every town, you can see yourself on your map. So that this is an actual photo of, on the far right picture, that map, that dot is me in Italy, and it says I have LTE. That was Italy because I actually did turn my cell phone on. My recent trips I haven't done that, but yeah, you can use your map and you can have your signal, and you can literally be on airplane mode, not using any cellular data, with Wi-Fi on but not with a Wi-Fi signal, and walk around the city and watch yourself. And you can go to different types of things. You can see there's all these churches, and attractions right where we're walking by, and you don't need your cell phone signal. Now, you can't do like a map. You can't say like I want to go from where I'm at now to this church or whatever it is you're looking at, this museum or this park without cellular, but you can use it with Wi-Fi. If you have a Wi-Fi signal, jump into a cafe, order a coffee or tea, jump on, and you can do that. You can also use cafe hotspots for Uber or Lyft or Grab if you're in Asia. There's many ways to get around having to use your cell phone service in a foreign country. You can also do what's really useful is there are map apps, and I think it's called either Magellan or Galileo, I forget. But there's many map apps that you can download the app. You can figure out where you're going, what country you're going to. You can download a map of that country, and then it's on your phone. You don't need any service. You don't need cellular. You don't need Wi-Fi, and you can have a map. And if you can do location tracking similarly, just by pinging off Wi-Fi. But there's many ways to get around the issues of having cell service on airplane mode, and you don't have to have your phone stuck in your face. You're not texting people. You're not distracted by text or cell phones. You're not checking the weather every 10 minutes. You can kind of spread out your phone usage. You use it at your hotel at night and in the morning, maybe at lunch or at cafes, and you use for photos. I take tons of photos with my phone. That's probably the biggest use value I get out of it. But keep it on airplane mode if you can. Save the money, save the distraction, and learn how to enjoy being in a different country without having your face stuck in your cell phone. And you'll get much more value out of your trip, and you'll save some money again. If you do decide to drive, a couple tips that I recommend you do. First of all, of course, study the local laws and rules and regulations so you know what to expect. Every country can be slightly different. You're going to want to understand traffic signs, of course. I have many stories of driving not knowing what's going on. Let's see, where were we at? The Amalfi Coast. The cops in Italy, in the U.S., when a cop wants to stop you, they put their hand up, right, and their palm is facing you, like they give you like the stop, like hand out forward, palm facing you. That means stop here. Not in all countries. So in Italy, when they want you to stop, when they're trying to get your attention and have you come to them, they kind of do this really mellow up and down motion with their hand next to their body, and it kind of means like slow down, come to me. It's like them summoning you. If you don't know that, you're not going to stop, and then they're going to get pissed because you blew right past them. They're trying to summon you, and that's going to make the situation more aggravating. And then they're going to be in an aggressive mindset, and you have a much less chance of getting off easy. So study the rules of the road. Make sure you know what you're doing. Another thing, like driving in older countries with older streets and buildings and whatnot. A lot of times, they'll have the street sign, not like we have in the U.S. where it's like on a post or on the light. They'll have the street name like on the side of a building, and it can be almost impossible to read. I mean, I've had times driving in Bali or in Thailand where I didn't even understand the intersection. I didn't know where to stop, when to go. It can be incredibly frustrating. So do your due diligence. If you have any intention of driving, do a little research beforehand and figure it out so you're not totally blindsided. Because even when you do your research and you get in a car and start driving, things are going to be different. It's going to be chaos. Many countries, they have a ton of mopeds or scooters or motorbikes. It's like being in a school of mopeds. You'll have like 15 mopeds all around your car while you're stopped at a light, and then light turns green, they all go, and then you'll go. It can be nuts. So do your research. If you rent a car, the second they give you the keys, before you even leave the car rental agency, they're going to do their little check. They have their paperwork. They're going to check it all off and make sure that they notice anything about the car. Take a video. Take your own photos. Take a video. Embedded here, I have a video that I took of the car we rented in Italy that I dropped off at the end of the trip. And, the guy came by and he looked at my car and he said, yep, it's all good. Go overboard. Take a 2-minute video of the entire car yourself. I've heard of stories and talked to people that and this is in Italy again. Person rented the car in Italy, had it for 10 days, dropped it off, everything was supposedly fine. Gets his bill from the rental car company a week or so later, has $1,000 fee on there for a paint chip or a scratch, right? And the guy's like, I read his reviews, and he's like, I never had any chip or scratch, and he was totally, taken by surprise, and they hit him with $1,000 fee. So save yourself any kind of potential problem like that, and take a video when you get your car. Take a video when you drop the car off. That way, when you get your finalized bill, there's an extra charge on there. Say, no way. I took a video. I have proof, and that's what I always do. And it gives me peace of mind. It lets me relax a little bit. Like again, this is about anxiety and traveling. This is one thing you can do to minimize the potential for issues or errors that's going to cost you more money. Again, $1,000 fee from a rental car company. That's no laughing matter. That's a lot of money. So little things like this can help you stay clean and stay out of trouble if you do so. A lot of times you're going to need a navigator or a map system in your car. If you have a good Copilot and you have a map app that's downloaded, you can get away just fine with that. A lot of times car agencies will offer you a GPS system. They can be very expensive, but also very worth it. What I do when I have to drive a lot, if I know I have a route that I need to drive, I'll print out the map. Like seriously, you might not know what to expect. It might make you feel a little more comfortable. Print out your map of where you're going. Print out, like you can go on Google and say I'm driving from the airport in Rome to Florence, Italy. Google Maps it, print it out. That way, if you don't have phone service or whatever, you can use the maps and have a little bit of assurance that you have something as backup in case your phone doesn't work. Again, just one of many different tactics you can use to keep your anxiety at bay, so you have a backup plan for everything you're doing. And like I said, if you're renting a car, it can make your trip more enjoyable. It can also add more stress. So do these few tactics and you'll be able to minimize your exposure to danger and risk. Again, ensure that you're having a fun time, an enjoyable trip. That's what it's all about. I mean, it's about more than that, actually. It's about beating your anxiety, but it's about having fun. It's about exploring the world. It's about a bunch of things. Don't pack too much in. Give yourself ample time. Like I said, when we were driving from the Amalfi Coast to the Port of Naples, I did my research beforehand. Every time I checked how long that would take to drive, it was 25, 30 minutes. The day we get there, the day I pull up my map that morning, it's a 45 to 50 minute drive. I'm thinking, I just lost 20 minutes. We barely made it, So give yourself a cushion, and especially in transportation, because that's when there are the most unknowns. The most random, craziest things can happen. The standard procedures in other countries are not like the ones you're used to a lot of the time. So just make sure that you give yourself a cushion in what you want to do, because a lot of times it will take longer than you expect. You want to be able to explore. You want to be able to have time for a little bit of spontaneity. I think if you plan it too rigidly, if you plan it just too structured and minute by minute, I don't like that, because that makes it too much potential for a wrench to get thrown in your schedule, and then you start missing your attractions or what you have scheduled. Flexibility is really useful. Like what I'll do is we'll build our day, and we'll basically do a loose structure. We'll say, well, we have this sightseeing event from 8 a.m. to 12, and then we're gonna get lunch around here. We'll give ourselves 3 hours for lunch, and then we'll do something in the afternoon. And we don't try to pack it minute by minute, because there's just too much opportunity for your schedule to get blown out of the water, and that might cause your anxiety to flare up, because now you start missing things. Oh shit, we missed this. Oh no, we're running late. Let's hurry. This is about enjoyment. This is about having a good time. This is about not having anxiety. If you pack too much in too tight, you're going to just increase your odds of having a nervous situation where your anxiety takes off, and it can just ruin your day. It really can. It's amazing how, and everyone's different, but for some people you can have a great attitude all day, through the morning, through the lunchtime, through afternoon, and something happens at 4:30 in the afternoon that throws everything off, and then you're just in a shitty mood all day. That can happen, and that can be magnified when you're traveling because, even if you're keeping your cool on the outside, inside your body's still adjusting to so many things. Your brain is taking on everything's new. Like everything has to be reprogrammed, and all the new sights and smells and food and money and currency and language and cityness and sanitation. Make it easy on yourself. Give yourself time to adjust. Give yourself time to travel. And then as your trip progresses, you'll get more acclimated to your surroundings. Your jet lag disappears. You're well rested up. Then pack in more. Build it up like you're building in your international travels. Start small, build it up. When you get to your international destination, start small, relaxed, comfortable, and then build it up and push yourself a little bit more. It's a good way to keep your nerves at bay. It's a good way to check off some of your challenges that are your biggest concerns, and then just have a good time and explore what you're doing and where you're at. There are many ways to keep your anxiety in check. Like I was just talking about, don't pack too much in, because packing things too tight, if you miss something, if there's a delay anywhere, you get thrown off a schedule, that can cause your anxiety to go haywire. Um, things are gonna change on you. Like I said, the reality that you expect is going to be probably different than the reality that you get. But do your best to stay on schedule. You may have planned this perfect trip back home, and then when you get there, it's going to be different. You might get like the heebie-jeebies. Your anxiety might be worse than you anticipated. Maybe it's not as clean of a city as you were hoping. Maybe there's a little bit of criminal activity that you're kind of scared of. You might want to like start second guessing, is this the smart thing to do? Maybe you're going on an elephant safari and it's a 3-hour drive and you're like, oh no, is this too much? Like, don't do that. Just don't. Just don't back out of your plans. Like I said, if you don't pack things too tight in one day, you have flexibility for error. You have time to handle some unexpected elements, unexpected bathroom breaks, or maybe a longer than normal lunch. Some places, seriously, talking about food, some places, we're used to pretty quick and easy and in and out food here in the U.S. Not everywhere, not even close. Like in Spain, you want to get in, eat dinner, and get out in 30 minutes. Good luck. Like they'll give you your food. Like they'll order, you'll get your setup, and then yada yada yada, and then the waiter or waitress will give you your food and drink, and then they'll forget about you, because it's customary to talk. It's customary to have an hour or two long conversation over dinner in Spain. So when we first got to Spain, we were like, man, these servers are rude. Like they don't care about us. They're not asking us if we want more water or another drink. So we just got all offended at first, and then I'm like, you know what? This is just how it goes here. Like this isn't them like trying to be rude to us and ignore us. This is just the standard procedures. So give yourself flexibility in your schedule for stuff like that, because it's not going to be exactly as you want it to be. And if you pack it in too tight again, you're going to start missing your scheduled events, and that's going to make you frustrated, and that's going to pump up your anxiety, and that's going to potentially ruin your day. So if you do that, then just stick to your plans, stick to your schedule. Like I said, every time you back out of something, it digs that channel in your brain that, don't do this, or I can't do this, or I'm afraid, and the fear one. So you spend all this time and energy planning out your trip, booking your events, booking your accommodations. Stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. And if something happens, and if you miss something, like you can't, even if you give yourself ample flexibility in your schedule, things can happen. Flights get delayed. Storms come out of nowhere, essentially. You can't control anything but your own thoughts and actions. So, even if you do everything that I'm recommending, and you have plenty of flexibility in your schedule and plenty of time in between, and something goes wrong and you miss something, or, like we almost missed our ferry to Ischia, and that would have been traumatic and horrible for us. It would have ruined our trip. Well, it would have sucked. But we would have just literally spent 3 or 4 hours hanging around Naples with our luggage. It would have kind of sucked until the next ferry, and then left. You got to realize that when you're traveling, you can't be a control freak. You have to be the opposite. So you're doing your best to manage everything, but also realize life is just out of our hands most of the time, and be comfortable with that. Once you get that really understood deep, in yourself, like just really get that fact, life becomes so much easier. And I don't mean just traveling life, I mean life becomes easier when you stop trying to control everything, when you just kind of let things be, and you do your best to manage them and do your best to stay on top of them. Ultimately, you're just flowing in the river. And when you're traveling, you just kind of gotta go with the flow and do your best to stay positive, and you'll be fine. You'll keep your anxiety in check, and you'll do all the great things that you planned on doing. And hopefully, all the things you planned on doing are awesome and fun because, like I said, you don't want to just make this a trip of survival to do it. You want this to be sexy. You want to have a good time. This is me in the top left corner ziplining in Costa Rica. And of course, bottom left corner, me and my now wife in Italy in front of the Colosseum. This meal we had in the top right, that was at a French restaurant in Barcelona on our last night because we treated ourselves to a nice meal for our last night. This is mashed potatoes with little vegetable forests sticking out. It was just the coolest thing. I had to take a picture of it. Bottom right, me in Indonesia and Bali with the beer at our. This is like the view from our room. It's awesome. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Take photos. Do fun things. Like I said, our phones are amazing assets. This the number one use that I have of my phone when I travel is for taking photos. Eating food, traveling. Food is so good. You're not gonna like everything, but you're gonna like a lot of it. It's one of the favorite things about traveling for us is the food. You spent all this money and all this time. You're here. Do it. Do what you want to do. And like I said, don't back out of these trips because your anxiety is starting to take off. Every single time your anxiety kicks in and it says, no, 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 maybe we shouldn't do this. Or no, 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 maybe we shouldn't go here. No. No. This was our plan. This is our intention. We're doing it. And every single time you chip away on that wall of anxiety and take those bricks down, you build up your confidence and you build up, you build up, you build up. And before long, the things that you used to question doing, you don't even question. That's just part of your day and you enjoy it. You don't think about the anxiety. You've overcome it. And then you can push yourself to bigger and better things. So immerse yourself. Have fun. Like do the things, people go on vacations and they're like, oh, I don't want to be a tourist and do touristy things because it's just kind of lame or whatever their excuse is. It's like, you know what, like I agree with that to some extent, but at the same time, when you go to, Paris, France, and you don't see the Eiffel Tower because you're like, that's a tourist thing, well, you're missing one of the best things to see and do there, if you go to Thailand and you're like, I don't want to go to the temples because they're just kind of stupid and touristy. It's like, well, their main attractions because they have deep roots in the culture and the history of the people, and there's a whole spirituality and religion and a way of life behind that. So we do touristy things because the main touristy things usually are the biggest reflection of the culture we're in. And of course, we don't do only touristy things. Like we try to avoid, like I said, the high season, the most popular places during the most popular times because we don't want to be in shoulder to shoulder with a crowd of tourists. A lot of times tourists can destroy a place. So we try to just be kind of a kind of covert where we're actually able to enjoy the attractions, but do it in a way that's not incredibly touristy. And you'll find ways to do this as well. Whatever you want to do, wherever you go, you're gonna find ways to kind of fit in, your style, yourself, and be sure that you can do what you want to do without overburdening yourself or overburdening everyone around you and feeling like a super tourist. Because that ain't the best feeling. But bottom line is, you are a tourist. No way around it. You're not gonna go to a new country for the first time and say, "Oh, I'm not gonna act like a tourist." Well, yeah, you are, because you're a tourist. So just enjoy it. Don't take other people's crap. People give you attitude. You go to some countries, they don't like Americans, they don't like whatever. You gotta let things roll off your back. You gotta just, people give you attitude. You just gotta say, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Maybe in your head say that, walk away, don't apologize, don't give them any power over you. But be like, you know what, I don't need this shit. I don't need people to give me attitude. I'm just trying to be a good person here and explore this country and this culture. Don't take things seriously. Really, just kind of be flexible. Flow like water. Flow like water, and you'll have a good time. Buy souvenirs. I have a row of knickknacks. Every place I've went, I always buy myself one little small souvenir. And I have a whole row, I'm looking at them right now actually, a whole row of souvenirs that I've gathered over the years in my travels, and they mean a lot to me. And they're very valuable for me. And then They remind me of an instance in my life. They remind me of a story, of a place, of feeling, of an accomplishment, really. Every one of these knickknacks is me defeating my fears and beating my travel anxiety, so they have a lot of sentimental value. And I also get souvenirs for, like I said, one or two of my close friends or family members. If I have someone check on my house when I'm gone, I'll buy them something out of, courtesy. So I suggest you do the same because you're not going to come back to this place probably ever. And it's good to like have little mementos. And if you don't want to, don't. But I recommend it. And really, like for me, traveling isn't about just being an American abroad. Traveling for me is getting out of my Americanism because so many cultures, especially America, they're so ethnocentric, right? They think the world revolves around their culture, their society, their beliefs, and you step out a little bit and you realize that's all bullshit. That's actually couldn't be farther from the truth. And every culture, most cultures are very ethnocentric for themselves. And the purpose of traveling isn't to take your Americanism abroad. I think that's horrible. I think it's to leave your Americanism back home and allow yourself to be with other cultures and people and accept that there are different beliefs and spiritualities and religions in the world and practices and everything. Like when you travel enough, one thing I realized about traveling is that everywhere I go is vastly different from each other. At the same time, everywhere I go is the exact same. We're all humans. We all have the same cares and concerns. We have cars and buildings and automobiles and libraries and churches and bookstores and all these things that make us all human. We're all the same. But the way we do things, look at things, approach things, and think about things can be vastly different. And one of the things I like about traveling is experiencing this. And this is like another taking your anxiety, taking your ethnocentricity, and then facing the fact that you're not that unique and special. Like you are, but you're not. Neither is your country, and that can be an anxiety trigger for people too when you realize we're not that cool. I'm not that special. You're not. You know what? You're not. Neither is anybody else. We're all just people, and we're all special people. We're all magnificent, but you're not the center of the earth. And so traveling gets you out of that. Traveling will help you realize that. And I've been to trips before. A quick story about Costa Rica. We got there like on a Tuesday. Stayed in an all-inclusive hotel Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday up to Friday afternoon. Very peaceful, very fun. It was very cool because there's a lot of Russian tourists and Colombian tourists, and there weren't many Americans. It was a really international crowd. Very cool, very peaceful, very fun. Kid you not. Friday afternoon, 5 p.m. Our hotel room is about 3 floors up above the jacuzzi. Peaceful afternoon, gorgeous, calm, relaxing setting. I swear, it's like the here come the Americans. I can hear a group like 10 of them, like just loud, obnoxious, just boisterous, belligerent, walking to the hotel jacuzzi below us. It's outside jacuzzi, and they get there, and all of a sudden, this peaceful, calm, natural, beautiful hotel is full of obnoxious, loud, shitty Americans. And I like right there, it hit me so hard. I'm like, this is how people perceive Americans around the world. And it's because this is how many Americans are. Ignorant, belligerent, boisterous, ethnocentric, think they're the shit, they're the corner, the center of the world. They're not. Don't be those people. Don't be that American who just thinks that you're an American, so you're super cool, or wherever it is you're from. Leave your ego behind. Respect where you're at. Don't go to a country that you don't respect. If you have a bias or a prejudice against a religion or something like that, don't just and don't just throw yourself in there and like walk around with a chip on your shoulder. Don't go there. Or if you go there, humble yourself. Talk to the locals, learn firsthand, make friends. You might not have any friends when you get there, but you'll have friends when you leave. It's very valuable. Learn about your culture, learn some common local phrases and concepts. One thing you can do if you're concerned about being able to communicate, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but you can download the Translate app and then download the language of where you're going. And then you don't need internet service because you downloaded it on your phone, you can use that to type in phrases and say things. Like when I got a massage in Thailand, the first day it was not much pressure and it wasn't enjoyable. So the next day I went back, I said, more pressure, please, in Thai. And I pushed a button and it said it in Thai. And the lady saw and laughed and smiled and it helped. So learn some phrases, learn some concepts, utilize technology. It can be very valuable. The top left photo is one of the best Thai meals we had in Thailand. It was like $4 a person. It was insane. The bottom left is some famous painting in the Vatican. Really cool to get the history and culture and be like in the Sistine Chapel. This isn't the Sistine Chapel, but it was right next door. And then you got on the right is our tour guide in Bali. You know, just meeting people, helping people out, being friendly, smiling, not being an obnoxious American, just being an open-minded tourist who just wants to see the world and explore and do it peacefully and do it in a manner that's respectful. So I suggest you kind of take the same approach. It'll help with your anxiety. You'll feel a lot more comfortable when if you have that chip on his shoulder, just to let that chip on his shoulder eliminate itself, and just go with an open mind and immerse yourself, localize yourself. It makes it more enjoyable. Trust me. I know we kind of skimmed over quickly what to do when you're there on your trip, because it's going to be your experience, and I don't want to over explain it for you. You know, where you go, who you go with, what you see, what you do. It's going to be very, very independent for yourself, very unique, and just have fun. You know, use the tools that we talked about in the first lesson to relax yourself, keep your anxiety at check, breathe, understand triggers, understand the kind of situation that might trigger you, and then prepare for them and do your best. Stay calm. You know, it's time to go home now. Your trip's done. Hopefully it was magnificent. Of course, it didn't go exactly as you planned, because it never does. But give yourself ample time to catch your flight home. Again, you don't know what it's going to be like. For instance, in many airports, but I experienced this in Asia. You know, unlike the U.S., where you get to the airport, get to the terminal, you get to your gate, and then the jet bridge goes to the plane. You walk in the plane, you walk back. It's all connected. In Asia, you'll get to the gate, then you'll walk down to the tarmac. A shuttle will come pick you up and then drive you out to your taxi area to a row of planes. And it just takes an extra 20 minutes, but you know, if you don't know that, you might schedule it too tightly. So give yourself some extra time always. Like I said, don't pack it in too tight. Stay flexible, especially when you want to get out of there. Recheck your luggage for contraband. There are stories of people having drugs planted on them as a distraction so other people can smuggle drugs. Just recheck your luggage. You don't know. Before you board and go through immigration and customs, make sure you don't have anything you shouldn't have. Things happen, people party, whatever. Keep all your receipts during your trip, so when you get back you can verify all your card charges and you have some documentation to prove it. If you see extra or inflated charges, contact your credit card company immediately. And then seriously congratulate yourself. You should be very, very proud. I mean, it's like I've alluded to, you know, or just explicitly stated. This has been such a rewarding experience for me. You know, I wouldn't put the time and effort in to create this course if it wasn't something that I was passionate about. And you know, I defeated serious issues. I defeated strong anxiety, and I've overcome this. And now, like I said, I went from being afraid to travel to can't get enough traveling, and it's what I'm most grateful for in life. So, you know, my whole intent here is to have you have the same experience, help you get over your anxiety. And I don't know how this is going to be received by you, but I just want you to know that you should be very proud of yourself. You know, taking this course, you know, obviously you've probably done this entire course before you actually go on your trip. You know, visualize your success. Visualize you being on the end of that trip. Visualize you being back home in your bed the night you return from your trip, healthy, happy, smiling, and proud of yourself. Because like everything else in life, that will be done soon too. Your trip will be done with, and all the anxiety and all the fear that you put into your trip and planning it and thinking about it and scrutinizing it and questioning it, there'll be a point in time on the backside of that trip, that trip is now the past. When you look back at that trip, how are you going to feel about yourself, your actions, your thoughts, who you were being? You're going to feel great about it because you've taken my instruction, you've challenged yourself, you've utilized the tactics, and you did the most important thing. You stepped up and you stopped letting your anxiety control you. Something to be very proud of, and it's just going to spill over into everything else in your life. Your anxiety is going to start fading away the more you defeat it. I promise. Just a refresher, and I hope you're not tired of my voice by now. I don't know. This is the first version of this course I'm doing. After I get enough feedback, I'm sure I'll make some changes. So, thank you so much for doing this course with me. I just really want this to work for you. I want you to get everything out of this that you imagined and then some. Please leave me feedback, real, honest, critical feedback. When people sugarcoat things, it doesn't help solve the issues. If I'm doing something stupid, or if I'm too redundant, or I'm rambling too much, or I could be including this, or I could be removing that, let me know. Email me. Whatever it takes. Call me. You'll have my phone number. If you buy this course from me, we're friends, right? You have access to me. I'll help with your hints and tips and help you schedule your trips. And if you want me to, I can even schedule them for you. But I just want to really once before we finish this, and we're pretty much done. But just go over what traveling can do for you. And this is what it's done for me. I'm sure there are a million more things that I can't think of right now that traveling has done for me. But without a doubt, you'll appreciate your home country more. And I can't reiterate this enough. Every time I travel, me and my wife travel, we appreciate more about America. And I'm talking Bali, Thailand, Italy, Spain, Costa Rica, New Zealand. Every time we travel, we appreciate the lifestyle and what we're afforded, and the security and the freedom here in the United States. And that's no bullshit. I'm not trying to go all patriotic. I'm just saying, we appreciate, the food selection we have. You go to Italy, you're getting Italian food. Straight up. You can find in big cities, you can find Indian places and a Chinese place, but man, it's dominantly Italian food. And if you're watching your carbs, that ain't gonna work for you. So whenever we come back home, we realize we live in a small city. I mean, I grew up in Southern California, but we live in Reno, Nevada currently. So even here in this small town, small city, we have killer Japanese food like sushi, and Thai food, and Italian food, and Korean food, and Mexican food. It's all within 3 miles of my house. We have all these killer awesome foods. When you travel, you don't usually get that. You just don't. So, you'll appreciate a lot. You'll appreciate the cleanliness of your city, probably. You'll appreciate the simplicity of our road and highway system. You got to realize the U.S. is one of the last countries we've learned from other people's mistakes. So when you go to other countries and then you come back, you say, holy cow, this is so much easier in the U.S. And you'll just find things, and you'll just be man, our house, compared to houses in Rome. Our house is huge. It's 2,000 square feet. Compared to most places in Rome, we stayed places in Italy, in Florence, the rooms are 100, 110, 20 square feet. They're tiny. You can barely fit in the shower. So you'll just appreciate so many things that we have in the United States, and chances are you'll appreciate diversity a lot more as well. Because one of the things that makes life beautiful and great is diversity. So when you go to other countries, you'll realize that, yeah, we have a lot of things that are different from each other, but we also have a lot in common as well. Like I said, every time I travel, I realize, man, we are just totally different from each other, but at the same time, we're all the exact same. And part of the fun in traveling is figuring out where the difference is, right? And there's a lot. There's so much to discover. It's great. And then, again, overcoming your fear of traveling, it will help you defeat other phobias. It will help you just defeat your overall anxiety. It'll just spread out, and you'll build confidence. And once you build confidence in one area in your life, it's easier to roll that momentum over into another area of your life, and so on and so forth. So it's just so good for your self-esteem, your confidence, your ego, like in a good way. So really, like there's so much more, but these are some of the main things. I know traveling can be expensive. You know, $3,000 for a 2 week trip, right? Let's just use that as an average because it's probably pretty accurate. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You're gonna get so much more than money. It's gonna help shape you as a better person, expand your horizons, and build your confidence. You know, if $3,000 is a lot of money to you now, and you want to make more money in life, you're gonna have to overcome fears and take risks to build yourself up professionally. This is another way to build yourself up as a human being, which will give you more confidence to do it in other areas. So don't think of the money as a sunk cost. You're going to get it back in other ways, and it's worth it. And I really hope you enjoyed this course. Again, thank you so much. I would love and appreciate your feedback. There is an email somewhere on here or in one of my supplemental tools. You can contact me. Like I said, if you want help planning your trip, I'm wide open. And again, thank you so much. And ultimately, all I want is for you to defeat and beat your anxiety. Thanks. And that's a wrap. Here's our lesson 6 summary. You've arrived. Go relax when you get there. Go relax, chill out. You have a nice hotel waiting for you. Go do it. Ditch your cell phone for everything other than, right now, everything other than taking photos, using maps, transportation, and short email communications or WhatsApp communications at your Wi-Fi hotspot. If you're driving, keep in mind everything I talked about, and then there'll be more than that as well. But driving can be fun, but very stressful. So learn about where you're at. Don't pack too much in, but don't just lounge. Schedule yourself for a full day, but give yourself plenty of flexibility in between so you can adjust to anything that happens. Stay on schedule. Stay on schedule. Don't back out. You have a lot of time and energy in planning this trip. Do it. Don't let your anxiety have you pull a last minute ditch out of your plan, but accept spontaneity when you can't control your surroundings, because you can't always, so make yourself available for sudden changes, but stay on schedule whenever you can help it. Immerse yourself, immerse yourself, immerse yourself, have fun, be proud of yourself, and get home safely. And of course, homework, not getting off easy. So what did you like most about your travels? The least? I know you haven't gone on your trip yet because you're supposed to do this course in 1 week. Visualize what you liked most about your travels and what you liked the least. Write it down. Compare it to your trip after you get back and do the same thing. Congratulate yourself. You're a big, strong person. You're a proud person. You're conquering your fears, and there's a lot to be said about that. Many people don't. Like we said earlier on, 40% of Americans have some form of anxiety. 20% have some form of anxiety. Less than 40% get it treated or address it. You're already in the majority by just tackling it, by facing it head on. You're a big person. You wouldn't have bought this course if you didn't have faith in yourself. You just needed a little bit of motivation, someone to help you out. That's what I'm here to do. It's all you still. You're doing it. You're doing the work. You're traveling. You're conquering your fears. It's awesome. Congratulate yourself. You deserve it. Breathing, 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 and meditation. Don't forget you have 3 chambers where you store your air when you breathe: upper lung, diaphragm, belly. That's very, very useful. Meditation is great, of course. I'm going to keep saying that because it's true and it has been for thousands of years. And then stretch. You just traveled a bunch. Hydrate, stretch, take care of your body. Get ready for your next trip. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. The only thing left to do now is go. Do it. Just book. Don't stop ruminating on your anxiety. Don't think about all the what ifs, and if you do think about the what ifs, think about the what if I never travel due to my irrational fears? What if you hold yourself back your entire life? What if your fears that are basically out of your control, your anxiety, which is subliminal, which is built into your brain from thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. What if that irrationality keeps you from living the life you want to? What if you stay home and you get hurt? Stop it. Just go. Book it. Book your flight. Prepare to conquer your fears. Prepare to enjoy the world. And prepare to live a life that you love, where you're not limited by your fears and you're conquering it. And people will look at you and be inspired by you. And you will help people do the same thing. And it's a great thing. It helps everybody. And it starts with you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Go do it.